Thank you for staying with us. Former Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku is in hot water, accused by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, of a whopping 9.3 billion naira fraud. The EFCC has already filed 15 charges against him at the Federal Capital Territory High Court. Mr. Ishaku, along with former Permanent Secretary of the Bureau for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Bello Yero, will face charges of criminal breach of trust and misappropriation of local government funds during his tenure. Joining us live in the studio to discuss this is Public Affairs Analyst Oladende Areyo. It breaks down the implication of this development. Good morning. It's good to
morning.
join us.
Hi.
Welcome, Mr.
Good morning.
Well, unfortunately, former Governor Darius Ishaku joins the list of former governors accused of robbing the state of huge amounts of funds. But what do you make of these developments in the first place?
Thank you very much. We will continue to have this because we have an environment that encourages, whether you call it stealing, thievery, misappropriation, embezzlement, call it anything. We have an environment that permits and allows it. What do I mean? In times past, people have been taken to court by EFCC. At the end of the day, they will do plea bargaining. Somebody that has stolen in billions will be asked to pay a paltry sum in millions, and then they will go and enjoy their loot. If that is happening and incoming people are saying it, it gives them the muzzle or the heart to think, oh, I can also get away with it if I get my games right. Otherwise, if all the things we have recommended have been put in place, I promise you, it will have been reduced to the barest minimum.
What are those recommendations?
Number one, we should start inheritable sentencing. Yeah, I will explain. Yeah. If my father should steal money, I will enjoy the money. I mean, probably buy me cars, we will live large, travel abroad. So if he's caught and is sentenced, if he dies while serving the jail term, they should pick the children to come and carry the... They enjoy, if you could enjoy the loot, as they say in America, if you can do the crime, you must be able to do the time. Yeah, if they make jail time inheritable, you will think twice that, oh, if I get caught, my children will go to jail for what I did, my own misbehavior, my own misdemeanor. But hey, nobody listen to us. Number two, what is plea bargaining than an open door for corruption? We've seen several cases. People will steal in billions, and they will say, pay 100 million, pay 10, and they will go away happily, go to their worship points and conduct, do Thanksgiving services. I mean, no country that wants to stop these things will open that door.
But it's basically to save the time of the courts. If you agree to perhaps a lesser offense, and then that way...
Yeah, but it should not... Yeah, whatever agreement you may want to get into should not leave out recovery. It's a critical element of justice. Recovery. Come on. How can somebody steal money in billions and start to pay because you want speedy judgment? No, they don't add up. Children are watching. The young ones, they are watching. People who are developing interest in politics, they are watching. And before you know, they will struggle and strive, get into office, knowing that, they would lock me up for 6 months, the case will go on, and I will do plea bargain, and I will go and live large. I mean, these are possible openings. And our financial instructions that are used in the civil service, I had read it over and over. It is overdue for reworking. These things have been there since colonial era, and they're still using it now. Maybe there are adjustments here and there. They should make fundamental changes whereby having so much access to funds should be made clearly difficult. Okay? I mean,
because I was wondering how these monies were...
We were talking about Bello's 82 billion naira.
Right.
Bello and EFCC. The federal government came with another 100
How are they able to
you don't understand? How are they able to do that again? Were they moving this money in cash? Which banks paid out such humongous amount to them, which is against our rules and regulations of banking and finance? They too should go for it. But when we sit here, we pontificate, we make revelation, we agonize, because it's painful that a state like Kogi could have a governor that could fleece them of 182 billion. And now Taraba State, I know Taraba State, one of the least developed in Nigeria. And imagine local government fund, 27. Come on, what are we talking about? Why are people doing this? Well, we also said that before you get into government office, let them do a profile. Profile them. Where are they coming from? What have they done with their life? What sources have they recorded or achieved individually?
Is that what makes them?
It's part of it. Then
go
and test them. Let them go through psychiatric examination. It takes a madman to see. What are you doing? Okay, I was telling somebody before I came on here. I said, if you steal 10 billion naira, let's wait.
Choice of words, please.
Wait.
Because we can. It's still an allegation.
I'm not. Yes. I know. Okay. As alleged.
Right.
Now, if a person steals 10 billion naira and he buys bond with it, you know what that means? At 21% per annum, that means every year it will collect 2.1 billion naira as dividend. But when they now go to steal 100, you wonder what are they doing with it? In the first place, will I be able to sleep if I should encounter such humongous fund? What am I going to be doing with it? These are the questions that are begging for answers. And we may never find a solution to them until we make it unattractive to steal money. The first record of civil servants stealing money happened in 1958, before independence.
Okay. And what lessons do you draw from that?
No, because it was patted on the back. Go home and see no more. That's why we are where we are today. Maybe if the Chinese treatment has been introduced, we will not be here. Nigeria has no business being
the Chinese treatment?
Where we are. Yeah,
where we are. What's the Chinese treatment?
Yes.
What is the Chinese treatment?
That sentence, of course.
Okay. The capital.
We have no business being. We have made money, but where are the monies?
Well, we used to have capital punishment.
Capital punishment.
Who stole? Yet that hasn't deterred people for stealing.
How do you think so? No. You see, for little things in China, once you are found guilty, you are a goner. The same thing with drugs in those places. They have very little or no tolerance.
People from, still trying their luck, as they would say. They tried their luck.
Just like drug trafficking.
Just like these now, crimes. We have a pandemic on our hand. The issue of ritual killing. Yesterday, 2 brothers, 19 and 17 or so, they murdered a 10-year-old boy because they wanted to use him for ritual. Now, even if they succeeded, what would they be doing with money at 19 under 20? But so many cases that we have had, they've not been concluded. So they do not serve as deterrent, to other people who may be thinking in that fashion. How many people who made money through ritual killing do you have on Forbes? We need to, and I keep talking of public enlightenment. We still handle that with levity. Perhaps people need to be reminded all the time. By the time you draw meat into their ears repeatedly, maybe it will it will sink, and then it becomes a mantra, and they will be guided. Because assuming I'm not a Nigerian and I read these things, I would like, is it possible? But it is possible. And let me also tell you, this won't be the last case.
Okay.
All right. It's even good that we, we are stressing that it's only a court of law that can find him guilty or innocent. That's the former governor in this case. But so all we are saying now is, yes, he has been charged to court. We'll see how he pans out. EFCC is making all these allegations. It's now left for them to prove it. But that's on the one hand. Let's look at the fact that people are saying, analysts have said that all these corruption matters involving governors are not exactly through them alone. In this case, we even see he's being charged with
a
top civil servant, indeed, and that's, there is something we need to do. If we're talking about preventing these crimes, maybe we need to start from the civil service. I don't know how we can curb the corruption that comes from this. If the officers there are, good, living without any scandal, any corruption, perhaps we may not say the governors, tempted. What do you think of this insinuations?
I will explain. My friend was the governor. I won't mention his name. And then 2 days after he was sworn in, I went visiting, and he said, these people you call civil servants, they are evil servants. So, I was like, yeah. He said, he now told me all the schemes they placed before him. Oga, if you want to make sure you don't live here wretched or the way you came, let's do A, B, C, D, E, G. I was like, eh. So I was like, what will you do now? He said, well, as far as he's concerned, he's not going to get involved. He's not going to do this, not going to do that. Okay. But of course, he did. But he was never caught. So,
pressure of the office.
That's, you see, apart from all of that, that's why I said the financial instruction as presently written should be re-examined. What is in it that opens latitudes, opportunities, and gives them alibi to get away? Or what makes it a possibility? You cannot collect 1 billion naira, through the desk in a bank. So somebody will carry the money, come and meet you. And you and I know that nobody has the permission of the law to carry so much cash. The same thing with organizations. There's a limit to how much cash you can move. But they do these things and they get away. They are all silent on the bank now. Some banks would have been involved. And then the civil servants, perhaps if this man goes with the governor, if they are found guilty, it may be the starting point whereby they also will know that their career is at stake. Yeah, because if you are jailed as permanent secretary, there will be no issue of pension or whatever. You lose all your entitlement. And as I said, if they've been seizing or confiscating these things seriously before dealing with them, there are two things. What you have stolen, then they collect it, and then you now go and pay for it with a jail term. But is it here that somebody said he sat in jail time outside the prison premises?
That's another matter.
Another big allegation.
Right.
Yeah.
Another matter. But let's look at the EFCC and these former governors who they have accused of, these matters of corruption and how far they've been able to prosecute and also charge these persons at the end of the day. We've seen the most recent
Bello's case,
which
for me has been terribly handled.
Right. Yaya Bello, we have Atahiru Bafarawa of Sokoto, we have had that of Abdul Fattah Ahmed of Kwara State as well, and a long list. One wonders if this case will not fall along that part of this order, because we need to get to the root of this matter. Nigerians are watching, and they are also making inferences from how these cases are handled. You just spoke about a 19-year-old and his brother who killed a 10-year-old. Where are they getting all these ideas from that at this age they should be having such monies when their attention should be in studies?
Or learning a trade.
Or learning something. Are we really addressing the matter of corruption from the root?
My sincere answer is no. We have a culture of hugging our problems rather than attacking our problems. You hug your friend. Corruption is an enemy, so it should be attacked. We enjoy a lot of media trial. You go on Facebook or social media, generally, you see all rounds of reports, EFCC this, EFCC that. At the end of the day, you ask yourself, where is the conclusion? One of the cases that I remember was the Taraba former IGP's case. I didn't believe it was possible. Let me tell you why. I was seeing first recorder that day to see the late Chris Olakpe, the first PRO. So I was on the 5th floor. I was going to the 5th floor, and I used the IGP's lift to go up. So by the time the crisis started, I was leaving that place for EFCC. And I got to EFCC, they denied me entrance because the guy I came to see wasn't around. And I was going to the villa at that time. So by the time I was getting to the villa, the IG was already brought in there, and it was on his chest before the president. And the president was very furious. You saw how the case went, even though we were not pleased with some of the treatment he was giving. But he lost his position. They retrieved the money that he was supposed to have stolen. Even the cash in his house in Ilarogun, some youths went there, brought the money out, they shared the entire 300 million naira. You know, when you look at such a case, you will say it was a glorious era of EFCC. Mention any other celebrated case that has been so nicely or neatly concluded. No. The painful thing is, when you hear of this plea bargain thing, you ask yourself, from where is this coming? I may not be a lawyer, but I did business law at the first degree and the MBA school. We also did law to a large extent. And nobody mentioned anything like a plea bargain. And suddenly it found its way into our status books. And it became the real deal that you can plead. For as long as we allow those things, it will continue. Because it does not reflect seriousness. When Bello came to EFCC's headquarters a few days back, he could have come with the entire Kogi State population. You let them stay. You didn't invite them. You invited them, and then you take him in. You can as well call the police or other agencies to come and help you disperse the crowd. You didn't need them. But what happened? They allowed Ego to seep in, and they said, no, they didn't invite the crowd. They came in. He wanted to embarrass them. Let him embarrass you. What do you want to achieve? It's arrest. You take him in. You do your job. Yoruba will say, you don't look at the market noise. You concern yourself with your mission in the market. But in this case, they were watching the market noise, and then the guy left. Somebody you have been looking for so long. I mean, he now walked into your...
He distracted them?
By himself. And then he used strategies to distract you, and then you follow the flow. He's back in the comfort of wherever he's been hiding now. And we say we are fighting corruption. What pains is when you go for international conferences and you proudly carried Nigerian, they start asking you questions that you cannot answer. Yeah, because, I mean, that questions that beg common sense. But because we're from Nigeria, they will ask you. You can't lie in those situations. You now see yourself speaking ill of your country. If you must say the truth anyway.
Another thing, this interview also, gives one another opportunity to get fresh insights, like on the issue of, the courts. So it appears, like we have seen the trend all these years, that this is also going to be a long drawn battle in the courts. The issue of proving them. Now we are here again. Should we be talking about special courts? That's not likely to happen, except if the judge decides to give accelerated hearing. But looking at these humongous charges and the time it will take for the EFCC to prove them before it now comes to the other side to prove their innocence, and then the courts will
If we are serious, it should not take that long time. I think they've done some investigation before coming up with the accusations. That should suffice for them to roll out. And if they need to get more information, they don't have to stop. The flow continues until the case is concluded. Perhaps there must be an enactment or whatever, or directive or whatever that will prevail on the judiciary through the office of the CJN. That, look, any case that has to do with politically exposed persons and corruption should be dealt with within a given time frame. That way, they will pay attention. If they need to appoint more judges, we have so many lawyers looking for what to do. Let them take some to the bench from the bar, so this one can get in. If we need to do that, let's do that. Let's get serious. Let it not look like it's a tea party. No, it is not. A lot of people are so scared of getting public office because they said they may be influenced. that they made, they don't have that liver to say no. Some say it is the order that you either do it or they deal with you. A lot of, we shouldn't be operating on that level at all. And what pains me is, I grew up seeing these things. I have grown up through it. I'm an elder anywhere I walk into now.
Absolutely.
And my children are watching these things. What will I tell them? I mean, which country are we handing over to our youth? Because when I was growing up, they would tell us Nigeria belongs to us, that we are leaders of tomorrow. My tomorrow came, I didn't lead anything. And what am I saying? I told one guy out there, I said, the only politician that I've seen in Nigeria that I've always sing his praises is Jakonde, Elijah Jakonde. He was governor in Lagos State. He lived in his house in Ilukbeju. He drove his Toyota Crown all through. And when you go to his house, you have access to him. Why can't people just remember that man and copy him? What he did in the few years he managed Lagos is still there. I mean, why can't people think in that line? And what are they doing with this money? Nobody has been buried with money. No, and if they bury you with money, in fact, before the following money, boys will have invaded and violate your burial ground. So what is it for them? I mean, how much do you need to survive? We should begin to talk to people. That's why I'm still talking of public enlightenment, apart from stiffer penalties. And of course, building roadblocks in the way of intending roads. It's a multi-level approach. And unless we begin to do it now, it will continue. I can assure you, before Christmas, there will be more cases. There's no deterrent.
The implication on the society, because I'm looking at the monies. It says it's accused of diverting 1.01 billion from the 2.5% contingency fund for the Bureau of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs between August 2015 and 2016. Misappropriation of 1.138 billion naira from the same contingency fund between July 2015 and May 2019. I mean, how this is rubbing off on the people that are meant to benefit from these monies. I think there's another critical aspect we need to talk about.
But, I mean, we're not going to be saying anything new. When you go into those communities, roads don't get done. They do not have, they have hospitals, no drugs. The schools are not what we call ideal learning environment. We can go on and on. Why? The funds meant for those things have been pocketed by somebody in authority. So the people are deprived, heavily deprived. So when you hear that, a vehicle ran into a ditch on a road and ended up in a river, killing all the passengers in that vehicle, these are part of the consequences. You shorten people's lifespan.
But is there a role the citizens have to play in fighting corruption?
What can we do? That's a big question. What role can we play? I'm here playing a role now, making suggestions, and highlighting what it has been and what it should not be. Why I have the platform. A lot of people don't have the platform. What you see sometimes on social media, some people will just generate lies and post it to vent their frustration. You understand? And there's so many examples. But the point again is this. If you... like my driver went to Abeokuta and contested and became a councillor. He drove his car to my office. In fact, I had a driver, he brought the bottle of schnapps. God has done it. I said, hallelujah. I don't drink schnapps, so you can go with your drink. After 2 or 3 years, the service was over. He came back that I should buy that car from him. They didn't need it. The point is, it was wrongly fitted into that office. I now ask him, what was your achievement? Just tell me 3. He had nothing to say. He was a passenger for all the years, and he collected far more than enough compensation, remuneration, emolument, salaries, and perks.
So make it less attractive.
Make it less attractive. One, The fact that you need only school start attempted to be our president is another issue. I mean, we didn't waste our time going to the university, please. Raise the bar. But I was going to contest chairmanship in Abeokuta. The first thing they said was, I have to give them money, that I should give them from ward to clinic to clinic. You know,
so the society itself.
So the society itself is encouraging it. And like somebody said, one Ghanaian politician, he said, how could he have survived successfully if he wasn't corrupt? That the moment he expressed the interest to contest, he had not won. No. They started bringing bills. Oh, my wife is pregnant. My children's school fees. It's Christmas. We don't have money for rice. You know, so we too should leave them alone. Let them do what they're supposed to do.
Perhaps that's why we can't question.
I mean, so we can ask questions, but if you have eaten dodo, you cannot speak ododo if you get that. But when your lips have been tainted with the spoils of office, where will you stand to go and confront them? You are as guilty as the people. The Yoruba says, the man who goes to the roof to steal palm oil, you cannot take him alone. The man who collected the thing, so that it doesn't drop on the ground, is equally guilty.
That's it, I even gave him the ladder to
And lives that are concerned, so many lives are tied to the
whole issue. Unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Our time is up. Oladeyinde Ari, public affairs analyst.
Can I steal a minute? I have witnessed the Onje Eko twice, and it's fantastic. So kudos to Lagos State government.
All right. That's on that note. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We hope that the stakeholders will listen and Nigerians will take a cue. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a break.